Hello everyone and welcome back to my Battlefield 3 weapon guide video series. Seeing as the Close Quarters DLC was recently launched, I thought it was quite fitting to take a look at one of the new DLC weapons. So we're going to take a look at the ACW-R, known in real life as the Remington or Bushmaster ACR, and for some reason it's called the ACW-R in game, but throughout this video I'll just refer to it as the ACR. So the ACR in Battlefield 3 is one of the weapons in the Engineer kit, and it's unlocked by completing one of the new Close Quarters challenges named Done Fixing. The requirements for this challenge are to get 20 AT rocket kills and then 30 kills with carbines, so it's a pretty easy challenge overall, but it can be quite time consuming to get those rocket kills. It's not quite as difficult as the challenge to unlock the Scar L, having to get those grenade and M320 kills. I had a nightmare last night trying to unlock that, getting hit markers at point blank range, then getting gunned down in return. But for the rocket kills, you do run into some hit markers, so it's definitely worth softening up the bad guys and then quickly switching to a rocket to finish them off. Or you can just jump into a conquest game and try and kill people by disabling and destroying their vehicles. The only frustrating thing then is if you get the destroy assist rather than the actual kill. So let's get started with this guide and take a look at some of the general features of the ACR or ACW-R. All the weapons in the Engineer kit have the same damage figures with the exception of the Scar H of 25 to 14.3, but the ACR has its own unique figures of 20 to 16.7, so that's slightly lower in close range but a touch higher at long range. This means you're going to be looking at needing to get one more bullet to kill at close range, but at least you can just manage to get a kill with one less bullet at long range. Since these figures kind of balance themselves out, the power overall is pretty moderate, but with the carbines in general being more closer range weapons than say the assault rifles, its damage figures don't really give you any advantages. One feature that does give the ACR a huge advantage is its recoil profile. The recoil overall is very low and it can be most compared to the M4A1. Between the ACR and the M4, the recoil stats are almost exactly the same, with the ACR having a slightly less upwards recoil. The ACR does weigh in with a few less rounds in its magazine, with a capacity of 27 as opposed to 31, but another great feature of the ACR is an 850 rounds per minute fire rate, which is almost the fastest in the Engineer kit. If it wasn't for the new MTAR-21, it would have been the fastest figure, but if you compare a fast fire rate of 850 rounds per minute with a low recoil, it makes a deadly weapon overall. So the ACR or ACW-R was one of the weapons I was most looking forward to getting my hands on in this Close Quarters DLC. Thankfully it did turn out to be a really good weapon since it's got those unique features, and just like the ACR appearance in other game titles like Modern Warfare 2, it retains its nickname as the Death Laser. Because of that slightly higher long range damage figure and the low recoil, it really makes the ACR more of a long range weapon, so if you really want to make the most of it, then you really need to stop playing around in those close quarters game modes and go back to any usual rush or conquest or even TDM on the more wide open maps. From medium ranges to even some pretty long ranges, you can often just get away with holding the trigger down and just spraying away towards the bad guys, and you'll find that most of your shots land on target. Combined with burst firing though, you'll find that you can take people out at long range with ease. I did think before trying this weapon out that 27 round magazine size would be a big downer on its performance, but it turns out to be pretty much unnoticeable, especially thanks to that fast reload time of 1.85 seconds. This is actually the fastest reloading weapon out of the whole Engineer category. But let's move on and take a look at my recommendations of a configuration for your ACR in Battlefield 3. The iron sights on this weapon aren't too bad, but as always an optic just helps with your overall accuracy. Since this weapon's a very accurate weapon to begin with, the reflex red dot sight with its little red dot really does benefit this weapon. I sometimes prefer the Cobra red dot sight on other weapons, since it's got a slimmer overall profile, but not only is the reflex red dot sight unlocked much sooner after just 10 kills, in this case I actually prefer the reflex because that little red dot can be used to line up your shots perfectly. I've already mentioned that the recoil profile of the ACR is very low overall, but the figures do result in a strong pull to the right, which might make you consider the foregrip attachment, but since this weapon's got such strong long range capabilities, I'd just recommend leaving this slot blank. Of course you've also got the option of the bipod, but the bipod seems to promote a more laid back playstyle, where you're more likely to camp a position rather than check a corner and then keep on moving around the map. And finally, for the secondary accessory, if you are playing those close quarters game modes, then I'd recommend the laser sight to begin with, but if you wanted to make the most of the ACR and play to its best features, then I'd recommend the heavy barrel after 80 kills. The heavy barrel is going to increase your aimed accuracy even more, so taking out those long range targets is going to be a breeze. With the heavy barrel you are sacrificing a bit of that recoil, but since the weapon's got a low recoil profile anyway, that added cake's not really going to be noticeable at all, especially if you take the time to burst fire those long range shots. Bear in mind though, because you'll need the extra one bullet to kill at close range, plus the fact that the heavy barrel is going to decrease your hip fire accuracy, it's really going to make you quite vulnerable at close ranges. So the best playstyle with this weapon is just to make sure you're staying out of those tight corridors and you pick people off across long sight lines. So that's about it for my guide to the ACW-R in Battlefield 3. As you probably noticed throughout this video, I also unlocked the NTAR-21, so you can look forward to seeing that weapon being featured in the near future. If you enjoyed my little guide, or if you learned anything new, or if you're just enjoying playing around with this weapon in game, please drop me a thumbs up on this video to help spread the word and give my videos overall more widespread exposure. If you've stumbled across my video through YouTube search, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see my reviews of all the other Close Quarters DLC weapons, and you can check out the playlist down in the description to watch back my reviews on the other weapons in game. You can also come and say hello on Twitter or Facebook if you want to hear my thoughts on the new Close Quarters maps and game modes. Otherwise, thanks for watching, I'll catch you all later.